Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting installment of the X231 Restoration Series. This is going to be a chaotic episode. We are going to be doing a lot of skipping around to different things, but it's because we've got a lot of irons in the fire all at once on X231, and that's just how it goes sometimes. So, to begin, I want to show you something. Just got back from town with X231's newly reconditioned clutch system. Very good results. They put a new grind on the pressure plate, put all new springs in there. They reconditioned and reset the plate fingers, so that is good to go. Newly relined clutch disc, brand new friction material on there, new rivets, looks excellent. And they put a fresh grind on the flywheel, got rid of all the old heat checking and flattened it right back out. So once again, here's their contact information. I'm not trying to plug for them and I'm not trying to do a commercial. I just want to give credit where credit is due. And I got this whole job done, all three of these pieces fully reconditioned and ready to go for about what it would have cost me online just to buy a reconditioned disc and pressure plate and have everything shipped. We also got the grind done and come in under budget on that. So it definitely pays to keep bringing them the work. They do very excellent work, and I want to keep as many of these businesses going around here as possible because they're going away one by one. So on to the next. The front bolster status report here. Yeah, we've got it flipped back upside down because Senior and I have just finalized our guide puck system for centering and guiding the boring bar with the opening that goes through the front. So that will allow us to throw a bit in that bar, and we can true all this repaired area back out and make it look like this side once again. And the way this works, so we've got this slug that's smooth on the outside. We have this one that has a lip on the back. So the smooth one goes in first, and it gets fed in through the opening right down here. And you've got to get it centered up just right if it's going to go. Doing this one-handed is quite fun. There we are. That will slide down. We've got our driver tool that we made. That goes in behind it, like that. We can throw the driver handle in. That aligns with the driver. And we made this piece to be an interference fit once it gets to about right here. So what I'll do is take this hammer and I will tap on the end of the driver handle till we get it fully seated. We can get the driver out of our way now. And the second slug goes in now from this far outside edge. And here's where this raised lip comes into play. It's made to work in conjunction with this step and the snap ring groove that holds the power steering plug in place. So this was made to be a very close slip fit, so you have to get it lined up just right and it'll drift in. No click, no play. And we can retain it with the same snap ring, like I said, that holds the power steering end plug on here. So we've got our guide system in place. And here's our boring bar, all right? So it's a bar that bores holes, pretty simple. We've got these through holes that are drilled at varying intervals. That is to put cutting bits in. So when you put a cutting bit in there and engineer a system to guide it, it will spin and that bit will just bore out material. A boring bar. Okay, pretty simple. So that will go through the slugs. And again, we custom honed these bushings to be a very precise fit on this bar. So that's how it's going to work. We'll throw the cutting bit in out here. We're well supported right about right there and right there. The plan is to drive this off of Senior's big Shepherd lathe. We'll flip the bolster back right side up. We can attach it to the carriage of the lathe with some of these holes right here. That will be our feed. And yeah, we only need about a 3/4 of an inch long pass right here to turn all of this rough braze repair back out into a perfectly round opening. But that's as far as we go on this today, because I called the Radiator shop this morning and they said, bring all of your pieces. So that means we need to stop with the boring job and the boring job, yeah. And we'll take all those adapters and the bar back out of there, and we need to get everything set and ready on a good pallet to take down to them. We'll leave bright and early tomorrow morning, so we've got the rest of this afternoon to get our ducks in a row. So let's move on to that. I'm going to stagger around the sawhorse slightly.
About there?
Yeah, good enough.
You can scoot it around for there.
Good right there.
I would say so. Get the forks on if they have to, or however they want to do it.
Yep.
How do you want that set?
On the front. Set it face down. So here's the full load. We've decided to throw this on a board. It's kind of like a pallet so that they can come in with a forklift and just lift it around. We've got it anchored down plenty good. We had to start on anchoring hardware anyway because these were the angles that we were going to throw it onto the lathe carriage with anyhow, so that was convenient. Core up here with the top tank, the surround, all the hardware started. Should be everything they're going to need. So before we leave, I need to give you all the backstory on how all of this Radiator shop business came about. It's actually kind of ironic. So those of you that have followed my Caterpillar builds probably know who fellow YouTuber Kyle Christ is. He is doing a Caterpillar RD4 restoration, and just a few days after I finished with the X231 Radiator refurbishment, he rolled out a video on his channel about his Caterpillar RD4 Radiator refurbishment. And he did a lot of the same steps that I had just finished on X231. And his comment section over there was actually kind of picking on him a little bit. I read the word deja vu quite a bit. I saw my name come up a few times. Somebody even asked if he was trying to mimic me in a way. When in reality, Kyle's kind of the reason that I even found this Radiator shop to go to, and it's also the reason why he's doing Radiator work at the same time that I am doing Radiator work. So the way it all went down, about a month ago, I'm at a different guy's shop that I know also from the Caterpillar Club. We're standing around talking and my phone rings. It's Kyle. So I said, sorry, I have to take this. And so Kyle had been doing some research online, trying to find maybe new radiator cores for his RD4, or maybe someplace that could build a new one. So we talked back and forth briefly, ended the call, and then I said, oh, I'm sorry, that was Kyle that we both know from the Caterpillar Club, mentioned that he was looking for radiator cores for an RD4. So the gentleman whose shop I was standing in says, oh, well, what a coincidence. I know just the place for him to call. So that kind of piqued my interest because I was in need of some radiator core work myself. So got some contact information, and then I looked into it. Very good place. Passed it on to Kyle. He looked into it. So Kyle actually started his radiator process back when I was still finishing up the farm all here. So he's been working on his for quite a lot longer than I've been working on mine. But I do this every day, so I was able to beat him to the punch and actually get my videos out before he was able to upload his. So really it's kind of me mimicking him. And if it hadn't have been for Kyle calling me at that time, at that place, I would not have been on to the radiator shop that we are going to haul everything to here shortly. So we can actually thank Kyle for getting the ball rolling on all of this stuff. So it's really how it went down. So we started out on the road and we've come full circle. We're ending once again on the road. There's always another place to go, but we've been very busy with this lately. We're getting these items ticked off the list. Senior's ready to go. So hope to see you all back again next time.